This is Jade Mills, and I am an Estates Director and International Ambassador with Coldwell Banker Global Luxury. Nothing is more important today than for us to all be healthy. And we are going to fight this virus together. I hope you're all putting safety first, and I hope that we are all getting to spend a little more time with our families. If there has to be a silver lining, it is that we have had time by self-quarantining to be with our families. The reason I put this panel together today is because many of you know I do a social media Instagram with my son, Austin, and we do 30 seconds with Jade. Normally we do something about real estate, something that's fun. I interview my 98-year-old father-in-law. It's always something maybe that would be interesting to people just for fun. Well, we posted it about 2 weeks ago, and we had over 11,000 views. And the people that actually texted me, emailed me, called me, all wanted information on our city, the economy, how the company was doing, and what would be best for them, whether to buy now, sell now. So I put together an amazing team, my 4-person panel. And I think that today we will all learn a lot. I hope we will all learn a lot. And I have 4 people who I admire and respect. They are all friends and my boss, Ryan Gorman. So what I would like to do is I would like to just tell you a little bit about each, and then I would like each of them to tell a little bit about themselves. First, I am proud to have Ryan Gorman, President and CEO of Coldwell Banker Worldwide. He has also worked as an investment banker and in the financial business, has also been with firms like PricewaterhouseCoopers. So Ryan, would you please tell us a little bit about yourself?
Certainly. Greetings, Jade. Thank you so much for doing this. Thank you everyone for joining. I'm sure today will be extremely informative for you, as is everything Jade does for you. It's a pleasure to be in attendance. So a little bit more about Coldwell Bankers, so you have a frame of reference for some of what we'll be able to talk about today. We have about 100,000 real estate experts around the world, more than 40 countries, and here in the United States, where in every city and destination around the country. We've got most of our people here in this country transacting hundreds of millions, in fact, hundreds of billions of dollars of real estate every single year. We're in every corner of the world and every corner of the country, so we've drawn upon our resources from China to Italy to France to the United States, speaking with those who started to experience COVID-19 earliest, and speaking with our governors and legislators here in the U.S. To make sure we're dealing with this in the most prudent way possible and giving them advice along the way. So I'd love to share some of that with you today. And again, it's a pleasure. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Ryan. Next, we have Lili Bosse. Lili is my very good friend, and she is a city council member, and she has been mayor 2 times, and she is a huge supporter of our city and charities. And Lili, tell us about you.
Thank you, Jade, and thank you for putting this together. And Jade, I am president of your fan club, both domestic and international divisions. And that is absolutely the truth. You are a powerhouse with the biggest heart, with so much vision. And the fact that you even thought to put this together proves that. So thank you for including me. I'm truly honored to be amongst this incredible panel, and especially honored to have you as a dear friend. So thank you. Just a little bit about myself. I grew up here in Beverly Hills, so Beverly Hills is home for me. It is my passion. I've been honored to serve on the Beverly Hills City Council now. I just got reelected, so you'll have 4 more years of me. Been honored to be the mayor of Beverly Hills twice, and my passion mission is for our city to be a healthy city. I was the mayor when it was our city's 100th birthday in 2014, and that's when I initiated Beverly Hills being a healthy city. So now more than ever, it is first and foremost on our mind how for us as a city, as a nation, how we come together, that health is number one. And how do we ensure that? Whether it's physical health, emotional health, economic health, and we're all connected. So I really feel that this is a challenging time for all of us on many ways, but I think that we're going to come through this stronger than ever, and we're going to be more united than ever. So thank you for having me, and I look forward to being here to answer any questions and learning from all these incredible panelists as well. Thanks, Jade.
Thank you, Lili. Next, we have Todd Johnson. Todd is the president of the Beverly Hills Chamber of Commerce. And I am on the chamber also. And so we were introduced that way and now have become friends. He works incredibly hard to keep our businesses going. Todd?
Thank you, Jade. And I'll echo what Ryan and Lili said. It's an honor to even be on this panel, and you have such a huge following. I'm a big fan of yours and admire, I think, your work ethic. And that's really I think that's important right now. My background, I'm an East Coast guy, actually. I'm from Pennsylvania and came out here, 30 some years ago now. Actually had a tryout with the Chargers, which didn't work out, which was probably physically better because I wouldn't be able to walk today if I had played, but stayed out here and was in the restaurant business for almost 30 years. So hospitality and doing for others it comes natural to me, and I enjoy it. My wife is a pediatric chaplain, so she gives 24/7 at the hospital, and as you only can imagine what she's dealing with at UCLA now. But
oh my gosh.
But it keeps things in perspective for me. And when we deal with some businesses or people that are upset over a number of different things, it's just, trying to look at it from their perspective and have some empathy. And right now, with our businesses, that's what we're really trying to do. There's a wealth of information out there that comes out literally hourly, it seems. And I know that whatever we're talking about today and doing something today, there's a good chance a week from now it won't make sense because things are happening so quick. I'm encouraging businesses and really trying to help everyone get teed up and ready to go when we do get through this. And we will get through this. And unfortunately, there will be some businesses that don't make it, but I think the ones that do make it will be better for it. And you learn from this, and your faith, you never know how much faith you have until it's tested. And certainly, no matter what your belief is, everyone's is being tested right now. And I really think we'll come out ahead of this. And I'm fortunate to be in, I think, the best city in the world. I know people are calling from all over the world, but Beverly Hills is a magnificent place. And I'm truly honored to have been here now for almost 20 years.
Perfect. Thank you, Todd. And last but not least, Tom Dunlap, my local leader, and he is the broker of record for Coldwell Banker in Beverly Hills. And Tom has at least 200 agents that he manages, and he manages it very well. He knows contracts. You can ask him any question. He gives great advice. Tom, talk about yourself. Tom, wait, Tom. You're muted. Tom, unmute. Tom. Uh-oh. Tom, you're muted. How do we get, how do we
It looks
get
like he's just having a little bit of technical difficulty there, Jade, getting unmuted. I have no doubt what he's sharing is brilliant, though.
Okay. So we will come back to Tom. I think maybe Stephanie can send Tom a text letting him know that he's muted. And we'll start our questions with Ryan Gorman. So Ryan, many people are asking me about the stimulus package and the CARES Act. I know that the government has set aside $2.2 trillion. Do you see this being a driver in our business?
Absolutely. So the CARES Act, there have been 3 stimulus packages passed already. So to the point about how quickly, as Todd mentioned, how quickly the world is moving, that's absolutely remarkable. The third and just most recent was last week, and that's the CARES Act. It's a monumental piece of legislation, almost 900 pages. I've read it cover to cover and worked with a lot with its NAR, our lobbyists, the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, and others in helping to craft some of what's in there. We're privileged to be in a position where many of those folks reached out to us, understanding how important real estate is to the overall economy, and to make sure that there's a lot in there that impacts real estate and the industries surrounding real estate. So it's a remarkable act, I would say, for instance, many of Todd's constituents and some of those on the line. One of the most impactful near-term measures is probably going to be some of the payroll protection efforts. So essentially loans that businesses can apply for to protect some of their payroll costs over the next couple of months. Those loans then become forgivable loans. It's truly remarkable. It's even a tax-free forgiveness. So for business owners who are contemplating what to do and whether they'll have the wherewithal to survive for the next couple of months, many of those business owners employ many of our clients today, and they've been thrown a remarkable lifeline here. In terms of the direct impact on our business, the last stimulus package as well as this include some intervention by the Fed in the various debt markets. One of those is the mortgage-backed security markets. So the Fed's been buying aggressively and has a mandate now with no limitations, essentially, on its buying. That you saw a week or so ago, mortgage rates go a little bit haywire, it seemed like. The Fed funds rates decreased, but mortgage rates increased. That was purely because of so much demand to refinance mortgages at what are historical lows that it drove up, frankly, so much volume, the banks couldn't handle it, and the servicers couldn't handle it. So they had to raise rates to tamp that down a bit. They've been able to do that. Now rates have come back down. So when you think about the fundamentals, the unemployment is spiking, yet unemployment has been well funded in terms of unemployment protection in the CARES Act. Businesses are struggling, and yet businesses are being thrown a massive lifeline. The mortgage markets got shaky, and they were immediately thrown an enormous lifeline with the Fed's buying in the mortgage-backed security market. So a lot of the most impactful financial measures that could possibly be taken by the government have already been taken, and some of those that didn't make the first 3 acts are currently being contemplated. So directly or indirectly with real estate, there is a lot of support.
Well, I do agree, but we have had some problems with our lenders because of the volume. Even people who started 6 weeks ago and we were supposed to close a home, we've had problems because of the volume. They just can't get this many refinances and loans closed this quickly. But I think everyone knows, and most buyers and sellers have been very patient with each other to make this happen. What do you think will happen with the real estate prices?
So it's been interesting. I've gotten that question a lot, and I think Tom is unmuted now, and he could speak to this certainly in a Beverly Hills local way as well. I think what we're actually seeing, there are some headlines you're seeing that talk about prices coming down, average sale prices coming down. I want to caution you on that, because when you actually break down the numbers, we're not seeing price declines at the actual home level, the asset level. What we're seeing is sometimes some of the higher end homes perhaps coming off the market briefly in certain markets, and some of those transactions potentially pushing out in certain markets. So it makes the average come down, even though the actual prices of the homes underlying that average have not come down. So I just want to caution everyone a little bit when they see some of these headlines to understand we are not seeing price pressure on homes right now. And I do not currently anticipate that happening. Obviously, if the broader economy changes dramatically, then that could be a situation that we'd have to deal with. But today, we're not seeing it, and we're not anticipating asset level price pressure on homes.
That's very interesting, because we still see people that need to buy, and need to sell. And there are still people, I think, that want to be in certain areas. I work from Hancock Park to Malibu, and we're seeing people sometimes that have maybe been in certain areas just wanting to move around now. So it's everyone's different situation, I think, that makes the difference here.
Absolutely.
So I think you already answered this, but given the Fed funds rate is low, but mortgage rates are up last week, many people that are refinancing have been asking me about how this will be for them. But I think that
Yep. So again, what we're seeing there now that the system is starting to process through some of that massive refi boom, and banks as well as non-bank lenders have separated refis and purchase money transaction teams to be able to handle this volume a little bit differently. You're starting to see the purchase money transactions and the rates associated with those come back down to, honestly, in some cases in the past few days, I've seen literally the lowest rates I have ever seen on some of that lending. Now, it depends on the bank and depends on the lender in the moment in time. It depends a lot on the borrower, but I do believe we're going to see a prolonged period of some of the most attractive purchase money rates in our history.
And Jade,
I have a question. I have a question for you, Ryan. What will happen if people stop paying their mortgages?
So there's been a lot of misinformation about this, and it's understandable because one, people are scared, and two, there's a lot of legislation that's been passed in a short period of time. So the rumor out there is that people do not need to pay their mortgages. If you're on the line, please do not stop paying your mortgage unless you fall into one of the categories that was prescribed in the most recent legislation. Basically, the CARES Act includes a lot of the lessons learned from the Great Recession that we most recently had. Some of the lessons we learned there was that banks moving to foreclose on properties for non-payment led to an even worse situation for not just borrowers, but also the banks. So they foreclosed, there was a glut of inventory, and prices were pressured as a result. And credit was damaged in a way that kept people out of the markets for a while. The CARES Act essentially allows for mortgage forbearance and rent forbearance, meaning you don't have to pay for a certain period of time if you are directly impacted by the COVID-19 crisis. You need to fall into one of those categories, and your mortgage has to be a federally related loan. So check the fine print to make sure whether or not somebody qualifies. That small subset is given a period of time of forbearance. You're not forgiven that loan amount.
Right.
You just have a period of time to not pay, and your credit will not be negatively impacted if you do so. Those are two enormous lessons that we learned from the downturn, to not double down on some of the more dangerous aspects that were unfortunately part of the contracts of mortgage-backed securities in the past. The federal government has taken some relief there. But again, it's only for those negatively impacted, but it helps all of us to avoid a glut of negative credit ratings and a glut of inventory.
Okay. Tom, I could see that you wanted to say something there.
Well, I think I just wanted to add to Ryan's comments about, and you had asked the question about refinances versus purchases. I think on a refinance transaction, it's much easier for the lenders because potentially they already carry that mortgage. So they don't have to look at the property as being a new asset that they're having to secure. I think the challenges we have today is simply gaining access to a property. You know, we are in a shelter-at-home state in our area. I think some of the challenges we're seeing with our lenders, big and small, is to a certain degree their pipeline is full because there was a rush to take advantage of the low rates. But I think on the purchase money market, what we're experiencing is more an issue of really getting the appraisers in. We have a lot of people, including those staff people that we are accustomed to having work from the office, are now working from their homes. So, just the sheer pipeline, there's a bit of a jam up. There was a question I see from Aram Afshar, who's in the Beverly Hills office, and he was asking, he's hearing that jumbo loans are much harder to get. And I think to a certain degree they are. When you're doing the conforming loan limits on a Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, they have some pretty streamlined guidelines and pretty streamlined systems in place wherein they can do some artificial intelligence and underwriting guidelines. When you do it on the jumbo and they're potentially looking at selling that money on the secondary market, they have a whole different criteria that they have to meet. So to your point, Aram, yes, I would agree. There definitely the jumbo loans are much more difficult. I think the biggest obstacle we're facing right now is access to the property with our appraisals.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, let's go to Lili because I don't want to run out of time for each of your questions. So Lili, I was following you on the campaign trail, as you know, and you are very positive, and I know that one of your favorite phrases is start with yes. I heard you say that many times. Do you still feel that way?
Yes, absolutely. Yes. I started with yes without even realizing that I started with yes. So clearly I do. Yeah, that is really truly my nature. I do believe with everything that we start with yes, and then we figure out how, and we get it done. And even in this incredibly challenging and quite surreal time for all of us, my nature is such that I'm an optimist, and I do believe that throughout this, once we get to the other side of this, I do think that there's going to be a lot of positive things that will happen from this as well. So my nature is still the same. It hasn't shaken my foundation in that, and I think that we're going to learn a lot from this whole experience. And I think that even though that we are.
Oh, she's frozen. Lili, you're frozen.
I don't feel so bad now.
Okay, you
Yeah.
were frozen there for a minute, Lili. Nope. Lili, you there? Okay, let's jump
Might be
ahead.
her connection. Might be
Lili.
your internet connection.
Okay, so, are you back, Lili?
I am. It froze, I think, because I was too optimistic.
Okay, so you started a program called Beverly Hills Bold. And for me, that was such an amazing program, and we had such a great time, and Rodeo Drive was booming. Would you tell us a little bit about your Bold program?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Jade. That really was a way to showcase our city as being a fantastic city to visit during the day and at night. In the past, Beverly Hills was a city that pretty much at 6 o'clock kind of rolled down to more of a quiet time. And I really felt that we have so many great restaurants and great stores and a great vibrancy that we needed to really be a city that you could come to and enjoy it during the day and enjoy it during the night. There's so much to explore in our community, and it really was a way to try and push ourselves out of the box and have something to offer during the day and at night. And I really think that is the future. It's about having a great experience where you can walk around the streets. Our city is a very safe city. It's a very clean city. It's very vibrant. It has something for everybody, no matter what socioeconomic place you are in your life, from coffee houses to five-star hotels. And it really was about just showing the world that we're a place to enjoy anytime for anybody. There's something for everyone.
And then on the little bit more serious side, you have a just in case program. Would you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, and boy, oh boy, this was beyond anything I could have ever imagined. When I was running for re-election, there was one thing that I felt that we needed to do as a city, which was for us to be very prepared in case of an emergency, just in case. So, to me, that it could have been anything from, a natural disaster to whatever we could even expect. Clearly, in our wildest dreams, I don't think any of us ever expected what we're going through now. But I think what it really showed was just in case something does happen, that we need to be prepared, not only be the healthiest city in the world, but the most prepared city in the world. And this really forced us all to really think that way. And I think what I really believe this has done for all of us, I think globally, is I think it's made us be very aware, not just of our own communities, but what we do affects everyone else, and that we need to be united in that. So back to your first question about yes, I do think that this will bring all of us more together and more aware of our healthy choices, how we are with our neighbors. And for me, just in case, we're already doing it right now. We're making sure that we are prepared.
You are. And Lili, being a city council member and being as loved by our whole community as you are, and I'm sure people are pulling you now in every direction, how are you handling this and the stress of it?
Well, for me, I'm a very people person. I get my energy and I get my optimism by the connection with each other. So I do feel, as I said earlier, even though that we're physically apart, the fact that we're physically apart to me is the way that we can show each other that we care about each other. By us really doing the social distancing, by us staying home and taking care of ourselves, we're taking care of each other. And the fact that we're even Zooming, the fact that we're really staying connected, and I think it has brought out the kindness in humanity. And that's why I think at the end of this, we're going to be better for it, because I think we really now recognize how much we need each other, how much we need to care for one another. So for me, as stressful as it is, it's these kind of connections and knowing that we're in this together that gives me the energy to do it all.
I so agree with you. I've had so many people reach out to me, and I have reached out to so many people because there are a lot of older people, and you wonder if they're alone. You wonder if they need to have food delivered or if they just need a phone call. And I feel like people have been really wonderful. I mean, people calling me from Monaco, my friend from Monaco, and New York, my friends from Miami, I mean, all over the world have really been so caring and wanting to know how everyone is. And it's a very special time. One more question and then we'll go to Todd. I know that you are loved and you love our Beverly Hills Police and Fire. And I know there has to be a lot of pressure on them. How are they doing?
Well, I think, whenever you're in Beverly Hills and you see a police car, what it says on the police cars, it says, police and community together. The one thing that I love so much about our community is our police, our firefighters are truly part of the fabric of who we are. They are so loved and beloved. I cannot tell you, every day people are dropping off. I mean, and I'm sure Todd can speak to this. People are dropping off from the restaurants. They're doing takeout to drop off at the police and the fire department. People are baking for them, cooking for them. There's a sense of a tremendous amount of appreciation to our police, our firefighters, our doctors, our nurses, our sanitation workers, our grocery store workers. There's just a sense of gratitude and appreciation that I really believe our police and fire are feeling from us. I mean, they are putting themselves in the front line every day, not only in terms of making sure our community is safe, but making sure that we're all staying healthy. And we are doing the same for them too, making sure that they're staying healthy. So it's really a sense of family and looking out for one another. So they are loved and appreciated, and so far staying healthy for all of us.
Great. Okay, Todd, you're up. What are the business restrictions in Beverly Hills since the coronavirus?
Well, we are unfortunately, we're pretty much, businesses are shut down, retail are closed. The only thing that's open are the essentials. So certainly gas stations, Rite Aids, the pharmacies, the restaurants that are takeout only or delivery.
Grocery stores.
grocery stores are open. So those essentials are open. Otherwise, everything's closed. And I will talk a little bit because I've had businesses call me up and should they be concerned about break-ins, you know, and we live in one of the safest cities in the country, and it's roughly 5 square miles. And because our police are reacting usually in normal days of 2 minutes or less, I mean, there's truly no traffic now. So if someone is crazy enough to break into a business in Beverly Hills right now, I'd be shocked if they even get out of the building before the police get there, let alone, and if they do, there's well over 1,000 cameras throughout the city that they're gonna get caught. So to reemphasize what Lili said about in fact, we fed the police in the fire yesterday. Where there was like 85 police working and 35 fire, and they are extremely grateful to be in the community they are. And we're extremely fortunate, but our businesses are up against the wall, like I'm sure all the businesses throughout the world. This is really going to help. I do think that it will help shake out some poor business practices. I think that if businesses have been doing business in a manner that's probably not appropriate, or it should be done differently, this will shake it out, because you have to rise to the top when you come out of this, and that they're the ones that are going to survive. So that's what my message has been to the businesses all the time is, look, there's help coming. We've sent in a rather large list of requests to have a talk with the city and the council, and Lili was the first one to call me and said, I'm in, you know, let's sit down and talk. So we're going to, you know, with the new council that have been sworn in, we're going to sit down and really see what can we do locally for all our businesses. And then obviously what the county is doing, the state and the federal, because I believe it's going to take all those entities to make and to help businesses get back. It's just not one event. So.
And on our Beverly Hills Chamber call on Tuesday, you were talking about the businesses and the banks letting the landlords slide a couple of months on their mortgages, and how this would help not only the landlord, but the tenant, because they could pass that on if the tenant wasn't able to pay their rent. Do you have any ideas of how this would work, or where someone would go for this information?
Yeah, well, if you go to our website, we have a number of documents that are up there of a checklist of what to do for small businesses. How do I get a loan? All the payroll protection that everyone's talking about right now. It's like drinking water through a fire hose. I mean, it really is. There's so much stuff out there. But we have a couple prominent banks that are on our board who had sent me some real valuable information that we sent out to not only our board, but all of the community and all the businesses about really where do I start? Where do I even begin? Because it's pretty overwhelming. I do know, I talked to a prominent Beverly Hills landowner who has properties everywhere from Newport Beach all the way up to Malibu, and he said, I think he said virtually everyone who's renting a space from him yesterday called and said, we can't pay our rent.
Yes.
So I believe what's happened is that now they're able to, I think I think Ryan said it, if you're able to pay, you should pay, and not just try to sneak it through, because a lot of these landlords are probably in the same boat of people that are living check to check or very fine line, or they're leveraged so much on their properties. Then the question is, are the banks going to ease up on them? And that's what, that's what they were telling us, that there is some leniency there. So it is going to take everyone to really make this work. But we have a slew of information on our website that really helps and answers all those questions. But that changes daily almost. So we're pretty good at keeping up the speed, but it's it's interesting.
Well, the Beverly Hills Chamber of Commerce is the heartbeat of our city. In great times, you organize these visits to the new businesses. And I mean, you do an incredible job, Todd, to get our new businesses going. And between you and Lili, I mean, we couldn't be more fortunate to have you in our city. What do you think the hotels will do to incentivize their guests, their hotel guests, when everything becomes a little more normal?
I'll tell you, I've talked to a couple of the hotels. We're fortunate. We don't have nearly as many hotels closed as the cities around us and probably around the world. I know Santa Monica had 18 hotels that are closed.
Oh my gosh.
I don't quote me. I think we're up around 5 or 6, like something like that in Beverly Hills. But otherwise, the properties are open. And I know for a fact that I think it was both the Hilton and the Peninsula, and maybe even the Beverly Hills Hotel told me they're all booked to capacity in October.
Oh my gosh.
I do think when the light does come at the end of the tunnel and where this opens up, the hotels will come back in a roar. But the city is being kind enough because they just passed a law, or at least a pardon on the TOT taxes, the transient occupancy tax, and they are pushing that down the road. I think 60 days, I believe that's what it was, wasn't it, Lili? 60 days, 90 days, 60 days?
3 months. 3 months.
3 months, yeah, 90 days. So, and you know, and I can appreciate the fact that our city is in the financial state that it is. But then I also, from a business side, understand that the city's income has come to a halt. So they're going to have to be extremely smart. The council, George, our city manager, they're going to have to manage it really close, because I'm on a committee of 13 different chambers that I'm the president of, and we're sharing ideas. And 3 of the cities around us, 2 of them said they're going to be virtually broke by the end of the year.
Oh my gosh.
By the end of the year. So that's not that far away, 9 months. So our city is fortunate where we're at, but they could burn through the reserve probably pretty quick. So we're going to have to not expect everything that's going to come from the city. The city's going to be able to do this. I go back to what I said earlier. It's going to take the state, the federal, this local government. It's going to take us all to really help get us through this. And I am more than confident we will get through this.
We will. I am too. Okay, thank you, Todd. So last but not least, Tom Dunlap. Would you like to now introduce yourself? Because your microphone was off.
Well, despite being able to understand contracts and all of that, I guess I hadn't figured out how to do the unmute button, so forgive me. You know, Jade, thank you. You know, I've had the pleasure of working on the West Side since the late 80s. I started my career with John Douglas Company. So for those that are watching, you know, I grew up with Jack, and I grew up with so many people on the West Side, and my business has always been focused out of Beverly Hills. I've been managing Coldwell Banker Beverly Hills now for the past 4.5 years, and have the great honor of leading 350 amazing professionals every day, an amazing support staff, and our affiliated services of escrow, mortgage, and title as well, that we all work together. I think one of the things that I, you know, to echo everyone's comments today, you know, we're all engaging and we're all embracing in a different way than we've ever done before. These Zoom calls, you know, the challenges of muting and unmuting, and having our laptop and our iPad and knowing which corner to press and not press. You know, I'm dealing with this on a daily basis with my team, and emotions are raw. You know, we came into this market so strong, you know, pre-COVID, January, February, beginning of March, you know, the economy was strong, sentiment was high, the stock market was doing well, you know, the demand was there for properties, and then we woke up the next morning and somebody turned the light off. And for many of the associates that I work with, you know, they're strictly commission based. And so there's that fear factor of, you know, where's my check coming from? Where's my next check coming from? So it's been a really interesting 2.5 weeks. I don't like to say locked down. Tony Robbins has a great expression, you know, the choice of words rather than locked down, grounded. And I feel I'm grounded today, you know, setting some roots in, really reconnecting not only with myself, but with the team that I have the pleasure of leading. The way that they have reconnected with me or continue to connect with me provides that strength that I need to do, you know, and be there for them. So.
Okay, so how is technology changing our business today? Meaning, I know Zoom meetings and all of this, but what about how we show property?
Well, our whole industry changed, and again, you know, I think if you look generationally, we would lean to our kids, we'd lean to our grandkids. If we were having a problem, we couldn't connect to our Wi-Fi, we would just hand the phone to our kid and say, "Hey, connect us, please." What we're all having to do now is figure it out ourselves. And one of the things and one of the tools that Coldwell Banker introduced, goodness, 18 months ago, that really kind of prepared us for today, we're having these tools of technology that were there in the background and working. Many people took advantage of it. Many people engaged in it. And then there were a lot that thought they didn't need it. What they found 2.5 weeks ago, was that, thank goodness it's there. Now we're all in the mad rush of, you know, trying to figure out how to teach everybody to get on. I'm accustomed to doing weekly in-person sales meetings. I'm not accustomed to doing Facebook Live sales meetings, and I wasn't quite certain whether the engagement, anybody really wanted to see me, let alone, you know, sit and watch me on their iPhone or their computer.
You've been doing a great job, let me say.
Thanks, Jade. You know, it's funny. It's all about lighting, I guess. But last Tuesday was my second virtual office meeting, and I had over 150 people watching the meeting. That's half of the office. The engagement, and while I'm having this conversation, and basically it's a live presentation to them, I can see the engagement on the side of my screen of them connecting with one another. And the sheer need for that connection, the camaraderie, you know, realizing that there's other people there that they can count on and ask questions to, that's been really eye-opening for me. Again, I think the technology that's out there, you know, we got on this call early, 15, 20 minutes early, to make certain we knew how to use this. And you know,
Thank goodness we got on early.
Yeah, absolutely. But so, you know, we're showing properties differently. We're doing virtual tours. You know, we're not doing one-on-one, face-to-face. We're complying with the CDC guidelines. You know, electronic signatures, mobile and electronic notaries, wherever possible. Deliveries are being made to my home rather than the office. I will share one funny story. You know, we were kind of challenged with how we were going to get our U.S. Postal delivery. And so I decided to get in my car one day, and I drove down to Cannon Drive, and I parked my car in front of the mail truck, had my mask on, sitting in the trunk basically of my car, just stalking the mail person, waiting for them to drop off the mail. So, you know, we're all figuring it out together. But as Lili said, and everyone has said, we are in it together, and we're all going to get through it together.
So we really don't know if we are an essential business day by day, but I know Garcetti announced something this morning. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. What time is it? Because truly,
yes, we never know what we're allowed to do.
Well, and I think to that point, you know, we're so cautious we want to ensure that we are following the guidelines. We want to
Yes.
ensure that we are protecting everyone's health and safety. That comes first. The rules and the guidelines are evolving moment by moment. We do know that the Department of Homeland Security deemed real estate, residential real estate, and commercial real estate an essential business. In the state of California, Governor Newsom basically fell in stride with that. However, we also know that in the city of Los Angeles, so within the confines of the city of Los Angeles, they have stricter guidelines. So we would not be permitted to do physical showings of properties within the city of Los Angeles. There are 80 plus incorporated cities within the county of Los Angeles, one of which Beverly Hills, Santa Monica, West Hollywood. They're following the guidelines of the county and they're following the guidelines of the state. In those areas, we are still able to do CDC safe showings with very specific guidelines to our associates on how to protect not only themselves, but also the buyers and the sellers of the property.
That is very interesting. I've heard so many people say, I will open the door, but you have to wear booties and gloves and masks. And I mean, there are many different ways, I guess, of doing showings, but it really comes down to, we want to know what we're allowed to do, and we want to keep our clients and whether buyer or seller safe. So that is something we just wait day to day to hear. We have all kinds of new forms now, coronavirus forms, and whether or not you want some in your home, we have to have a form that says we will allow these people in our home under these circumstances. So, I mean, everything in our world is changing. Because of what is going on and social distancing, what are you telling the agents to do right now to prepare as far as getting their contacts together, their databases, all of those things? What are you telling people to get together?
I'm very blessed to have a really talented staff that is fully engaged. We have our staff reaching out to the associates, offering their help. What can we do to really support them? These are those moments. You can only watch so much Lucy reruns on TV before you go, crazy. So if not now, when are you ever going to go and get in and manage your database? But we're doing a lot of one-on-one marketing, teaching them the systems that we've had in place for quite some time. This is probably music to Ryan's ears because the company has spent millions of dollars on these products and these resources for the agents. And part of the challenge from management is bringing these people to the technologies that we've created. Now this is the perfect opportunity, and it's the perfect moment to focus and really, I think the people that do and the people that look forward, remain positive. I love Lili's yes. I mean, that is just that's going to be. I may not be.
Me too.
I may not be able to say yes to everyone that asks me the question, but I'm going to do my best to have that attitude, because I think as long as we maintain that yes attitude and positive attitude, those that do are going to actually come out of this, as I think everyone has mentioned, I think a stronger person and a stronger business person as well.
Okay, thank you, Tom. We're actually running out of time, and we have many, many, many questions that have come. My husband is going to help me because I can't see them all at the bottom of my computer, but we have many questions, and I don't even know where to start here. Questions. Let's start with, this is someone from New York. This is for Ryan Gorman. New real estate companies always seem to pop up. How do you handle these challenges?
Well, thanks for the question. I think that's actually probably germane outside of real estate as well. So many of, for instance, Todd's chamber members probably deal with this all the time. New companies starting. Fortunately, in this country, anyone can start a company, which is great. Our greatest companies had to get started somewhere in some time. I think what's happened more recently in real estate is there have been folks who have a very solid business plan and are looking to execute it, and we welcome those folks. And there are others who are maybe trying to play a little bit of the wave. Toward the end of any investment cycle, whether it's in equities or in real estate or in venture capital, it becomes a little bit of a dangerous time where toward the end of that cycle, the best investments have been made and sometimes lesser investments emerge. And in those cases, sometimes money is thrown at problems and thrown at situations. I started my career as a technology investment banker. Unfortunately, saw the peak and trough of a cycle a couple of decades ago, and I saw this happen then before. So I think we just need to take it all in stride, focus on our business, focus on the value that we deliver every single day, no matter what industry that anyone is in. If you focus just constantly and obsessively about your value that you are delivering every day, you really don't need to look up much. Long ago and far away, I was a distance runner, and one thing that a coach taught me was I never need to look behind me if I'm running as fast as I can. So that's what I try and keep doing. We don't need to look around too much. We're focusing on the value that we're delivering.
Okay, thank you, Ryan. This is for Lili. Lili, I am from Los Angeles. I have followed your career for a long time, and it's very impressive. I would like to run for local office, but I'm not sure I have the understanding of government. How did you get to where you are today?
Thank you. You can call me. I'm happy to talk to whoever this is that wrote that. Give you my cell phone number right now, which is 310-963-6900. So whoever is here that wants to call me, that's my number, 310-963-6900. But basically, it's really about passion. It's about having a passion, whether it's for your city, whether it's for a business. It's about really believing in something and really doing your homework, having a strong work ethic, liking people, and really genuinely being a good listener. Because to me, being in leadership, number one, requires listening and teamwork. So I'd be happy to talk to you. Call me anytime on my cell phone, and happy to be by your side. And I'll let you know, it's really a great experience to be in elected office.
And I want to say something. She means it. She really does mean it. Lili is an open book. She welcomes everyone, and she means that.
Thank you, Jane.
Okay, for Todd Johnson, this is from someone in Ohio. I own a business in the Midwest. We don't have a chamber. I always thought about it. Would this be a good time to start?
Yeah, well, yeah, absolutely. I'm from Ohio, so I was born in Ohio, in Cleveland. But yeah, I don't know how big the town or the city that they're from, but whether it would be looking at talking with the local officials in the government about seeing to start up a chamber, or even if they wanted to start up a business improvement district. I mean, I know that some places start out with that first and then move into a chamber. So, but absolutely, because I think the answer to solving business is not a silver bullet. I think, we share ideas a lot with other chambers and other businesses, and that's what we really need to do. That's how we can get back on it. So I would completely encourage them to look into it and talk to their city officials. Yeah.
Okay, this one's for me. Someone who knows me, I won't say who it is. Please don't say who this is. Are you okay? Are your children okay? Is your family okay? We are all great. My husband is always beside me and my greatest partner. My oldest daughter, Tiffany, is in Malibu. They're all together, self-quarantining. Charlie, Stevie, they're all together. My daughter, Alexis, is with her 3 children. They're all inside. Zach is with Bowden and Kona. Austin is a mile and a half from us. Everybody is healthy and happy. Thank you for asking. This is for Tom from Austin, Texas. I'm an agent in a small town. how do I revive my business in this at this difficult time?
How do they revive?
That might be the hardest question.
Well, I think that's the same question. Hello, Austin, Texas. It's the same question that they have throughout the country, and I have it every day in my office. And I think I even had that question pre-crisis. It's a daily question. How do I revive my business? And it's again, I think it comes back to what Lili was talking about, the passion and being engaged, taking advantage of the resources. You only have one person to blame sometimes, and it's usually ourselves. I find that there's a lot of companies or there's a lot of resources that are out there, but we'll do it tomorrow. So I think if ever there was a moment to do it today, today's the day. And so I would look for, there's numerous webinars and seminars you can take. Inman News, the Real Deal has some great panelists and discussions. What Jade is doing today and bringing people together for discussion. Just access all of the knowledge you can out there, and then just try and make it work for yourself. But you got to wake up, you got to show up, you got to dress up, and you got to be nice in the business as well. And there's a place for nice in the business, tremendously so. So I think it's not really that difficult of a question. It's more just about wanting it bad enough and focusing. I think Ryan said, if you're running fast enough, you don't have to look behind you. Just keep focusing forward. What's your goal? Set it. Put it on paper. Have a plan, and stick to it.
There's one. I'll just add one thing to that. I always say knowledge is king. Of my panelists, of the people who are successful in any business, know your craft. It is so important to know what you are talking about and have more knowledge than anyone else, so you feel comfortable talking about what you're doing. So I would say now is a great time to study, a great time to know your neighborhoods that you work in better, a great time to know what everything has sold for, a great time to be the specialist. And I feel like we all are passionate. The people that are with me here today are my friends and passionate about what they do. And I think that is we're maybe a little competitive, we may be a little controlling about what we do, but we love what we do. So unfortunately, we have run out of time. We have many more questions. So this is what I'll say. I will say, if anyone has questions that they want answered, my email address is homes@jademills.com. Email me your questions and I will do the best I can to get the answers from our panel members. And Lili, of course, will open her house and her heart to you. But I must say, in closing, I want to thank our panelists. I learned so much today from all of you, and I hope everyone else did too. I also want to say I am so grateful for Coldwell Banker and what you have given me, what you've done for me. I can go to Ryan with any question. And I always am hoping for the answer I want to hear, but he always gives me the right answer. He supported me in so very many ways. Coldwell Banker is 100 years strong. We've been through the Great Depression. We've been through 9/11. We are 94,000 agents, I believe, Ryan, and we have 3,100 offices. We are in 43 countries, which we connect with. We are able to refer to all these different countries and all these people, and we have many personal relationships. I want to give a special thanks to Bruce Ziff, Craig Hogan, and Mike Fisher for always standing by and supporting me. And Don McKenna, I couldn't have done this without you today, your support and love. So for now, goodbye. And I hope we can do this again soon. Thank you all
Thank you,
so
Jade.
very
Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you so
healthy.
much, everyone.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Jade, for doing this. Thank you all.
We'll get through this.
Thank you, Ryan, so much.